Yeah, it's wise man, it's wise man time.
Welcome back to another episode of
Wise man time.
Wise Man Time. We're still here with our special guest, Russell Douglas. What's up, buddy?
Yeah.
Hey,
Still here.
So if anyone
You've continued listening.
if anyone listening to the last episode wanted more,
Just in case.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how the we'll see how the views go on your episode, and depending if it gets over,
10.
10, yeah. 10 would be nice. 10 would be nice.
I think we just release them both the same day.
Then what's the point of doing a double?
They get to be excited. It's like getting it's like when your parents get divorced, you get Christmas on your birthday or whatever,
Yeah, well, I mean,
2 Christmases.
Or your dad commits suicide and you have one very sad Christmas.
That's for that.
they don't change your birthday to Christmas Day after a divorce. That'd be fucking arbitrary on their part. But Russell Douglas was just jumping to the...
Can I just say something real quick? I leaned into this wall and my chair scooted, but it felt like I was moving the house.
Dude, that'll happen sometimes if you're just like sitting in the car or some shit.
Yeah,
And
the car rolls a little bit.
Yeah, no,
or the car next to you does.
There it is, yeah. Yeah, or I've had...
You get that little panic inside of you? Oof.
Yeah, you feel like you're... Because I've had dreams like that, like before I could drive, that I was like just in the backseat of a car and there's nobody steering, but we're going down the road.
Yeah.
That like helpless feeling.
I get dreams sometimes where I'm driving a car, but like I'm driving a car, but like the pedals are either too far away.
Yeah.
Like you can't reach them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The backseat dream, I have that, and it's like you're trying to steer from the backseat, but then you're like, who's controlling the pedals?
But you're moving super slow. That'll fucking...
Are you on one of those roads that shouldn't exist? Like it's just going straight up. Like, how am I driving?
Or you're
this?
driving off a bridge into water.
I'm not trying to get all Carl Jung on you guys, but...
What does that mean? No. I know who Carl Jung is. What do the dreams mean?
Well, it sounds kind of like you don't have control of your life.
Yep, that's what everyone says, and I'm like, bullshit.
That's usually when those dreams happen, is when I'm like in a bad stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had him back when fucking I couldn't drive, so yeah, I wasn't in control of my life at all back then.
Or the car.
Yeah, well, a lot of dreams you have when you're a kid are like that because you don't have control over shit, right?
Oh, yeah, that's deep.
So you have a lot of that's you have to
Carl Jung on us.
going to school, and you look down, you're in your underwear, all those dreams that kids
Never
have.
had that one.
I had the underwear one, or the one where you're back in high school, but you shouldn't be there. Like you're your age now.
Yeah.
You're back in high school. And it's like, I got to finish high school, but I guess I'm failing classes because I keep going back to high school.
Oh yeah, man. But they're just dreams. DMT trips. Fucking, they're almost identical.
Speaking of DMT, anybody in here ever do DMT?
Oh.
I think I might be the only one who hasn't done DMT.
I was gonna say, maybe Zach's the only one.
Oh,
who
really?
hasn't.
Yeah. That's surprising.
I haven't broken through the other side. I haven't Jim Morrison my life yet.
The question is,
what, killed yourself?
have you blasted off on DMT while you were peaking on mushrooms?
I've not.
Because that
these fucking losers.
that is like next level, dude.
Oh, really?
Is it different? Is it that much different?
Yeah, it's different, dude.
All right, describe every detail.
How could it be different?
Well,
you're already in like a different world when you're on DMT.
Well, dude. Well, here's okay. So psilocybin and DMT molecularly are very, very similar. Like they're kind of like I was telling you how cocaine and Ritalin are. They're even more similar than that. Yeah. They're both tryptamines. Mm-hmm. So a couple things happen. So you're on a mild dose of mushrooms, 2 grams, something like that, right? So you're barely have visuals, like it's not even really great. It's just like a little bit like,
yeah, it's a little wavy,
like colors look a little more bright, things like that.
Yeah.
So you take like 1 or 2 hits off a DMT pen, and all of a sudden you're having visuals on the mushrooms like you took 5 or 6 grams, right?
It's a way to stretch your mushrooms.
Well, it enhances the mushrooms, but then what also happens is like the DMT trip lasts longer too, because you're already, and it's easier to get there. So you can. That's what happened to me last time I did it. Was like 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't trying to have like a breakthrough on DMT. I was just on like a mild dose of mushrooms, and I was like, I just want to kind of like enhance the visuals.
Yeah.
And I took I took 2 hits off the DMT pen, and I was fucking like broke the simulation, dude. It was like,
Yeah.
it was like the fucking next thing. Yeah. It was,
Did you meet Steve Jobs or whatever?
what? Steve what?
Oh, that's I assume that's what happens.
The fucking Apple spokesman. Remember?
Well, I know who he is, but what does he have to fucking do with?
I don't know,
He's a DMT gnome now.
You said you broke the simulation.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not sure what you see. Bill Gates, maybe. I'm not.
Well, dude, it's weird. It's
either
like
Windows or Apple.
It's like you can closed eye visuals are just fucking insane, like so colorful and bright, right? But what's wild is like the open eye visuals. It's like with mushrooms and LSD, it's obvious that it's visuals that you're seeing. Almost, you know what I mean? It's almost like it's this thing that's kind of superimposed, or like it's in the air.
It's kind of dreamy, but
yeah, and it's like you can kind of, it's like, oh yeah, well there's these patterns of color that I'm seeing between me and that guitar, but like I can tell that it's like, that's all it is.
Right. You're tripping.
Yeah, but with like, especially like breaking through on DMT when you're on mushrooms, the opened eye visuals will like fuck with your whole perception of reality and who you are, because like it'll be like you're in another fucking dimension and like everything's different. Like I'll be like, I do it a lot in my living room. I have a bookshelf
Or you should do it. By the way, for the listeners,
if you're gonna do DMT on mushrooms, you definitely want to be at home.
Yeah,
right.
But
not driving a school bus or
just
some
like
shit.
I have this bookshelf.
Use it responsibly.
And I look at it all the time. It's always there. It's got and it'll be there, but
you'll have like new books on there.
It's not like, oh, I'm on mushrooms and they all look weird, but it's like all of the books are in different fonts. Like all the titles, all the letters are like different, like actually different fonts.
Comic Sans.
Like you're in
Arial, New Times Roman.
like almost like you're in like a parallel dimension of your same world where like just everything's a little different.
Microsoft Word
and like
land.
if you pull out like that when that happens, if I look at my phone, you know how your phone, like whether you're Apple or Android, it has like a look and it has a font. It has like a standard font and everything. Dude, it's like you're looking at a phone that's like just barely different. It's like all the little icons
and uncanny valley effects.
Yeah, like you recognize the icons, but they're different design. And like you can read all the words, but they're in a different font. And I mean, that's, that's just like a little, that's just a little tiny taste of.
So doing mushrooms and DMT is kind of like, when you first discover computer fonts. And you're like, I can make this look more cute.
Right.
It's like wingdings now.
Yeah, sure. That's a cute way to trivialize it. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's just that like it's more detailed shit like that than like, the kind of shit you see usually if you're just like regular.
It's a vague hallucination.
It's like veiled kind of shit. Yeah. It's like, or it's just like, oh, the colors look different, or like, oh, I can see things, I can see patterns and shit. Yeah. But it's like,
can you ever tell the future, like what's going to happen? You ever have like premonitions?
Yeah, I've had a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You ever like actually predicted things?
Did you know Trump would be president?
Yeah, I did.
Well, everyone knew that.
That's true.
It doesn't take a fucking psycho head.
Yeah. As soon as they announced Kamala Harris, I was like, well, there's Trump's president again.
Yeah. As soon as he got shot, actually. As soon as he got shot and lived, I saw through the looking glass.
Yeah.
Just like the elves wanted.
Nah, dude, I've had weird shit like, yeah, pretty specific.
Yeah, well, I already told y'all about this, but I'll tell Russell the other day.
Let's go ahead and just stop his.
Yeah, let me stop you for a second. Tell you about my own premonition. I was at a bar and I got a Pabst Blue Ribbon, but in the bottle, and they asked me to guess the fucking card. I guessed it first try. 7 of clubs.
Wow.
Yeah.
1 in 52 chance.
That's amazing.
Unless you include jokers.
7 of clubs. Is that how many dicks you sucked that night?
7 clubs. Go ahead, Russell.
Oh no, I just
top that.
Yeah.
I had a DMT trip predict my the business, me getting the business that I own now.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have my pressure washing business.
Yeah.
Right?
I had like a fucking like a dream predict some shit,
Yeah.
and it was well actually not really. It kind of like marked the end of something. I don't know, but like fuck, I had a dream. I was in foster care for a while, and like I had a dream. I climbed off my bunk in the room of like 8 other foster children.
Yeah.
And like I walked out into the kitchen and looked into the living room, and all I saw was like a fat lady on a couch with like TV static like reflecting off of her body, and it was cut in half, and she was dead, and there was blood. And I woke up and I had to piss myself.
Jesus.
And what that meant was
I don't know if I should laugh. This is like
no, you can laugh. I'm over
dark,
it now.
yeah.
So, and it was.
Well, yeah, it was dark. He was asleep. It was nighttime.
Yeah, we keep the. You know, it was basically jail. Kept the lights on all the time. No, it was dark. But yeah, anyway, so that just marked the end of I went home like 3 days after that. So yeah, maybe that was a prediction.
yeah.
I don't know how it would be.
Coming to a conclusion, like that was the end of her. She died. So I guess I have to go home.
I see.
That's the way I correlated things.
Yeah.
No, why
You
not?
ever get a deja vu that lasts like way too long?
Yeah,
like for like 10 minutes. You're
Oh,
like,
yeah, dude.
you're like, I know, like,
You know
like
what
I've been here.
everyone's gonna say.
Sometimes I'll get one where I'm like, oh, like something bad is gonna happen to me if I don't change what I'm doing right now. Like,
Yeah.
like not like a catastrophe, but like,
But like a Groundhog Day
like
situation.
something
Like,
like-
I need
like
to
I-
stop.
Yeah.
It's funny. That's one of the more like metaphysical theories about what deja vu is.
Yeah.
Is this throwaway scientific explanation is that like it's a temporary cross wiring in your brain, and so like a certain set of cues makes your brain trigger this feeling that you've been there and done it before, which always sounded like such a fucking cop out to me, right? Because it's like
Yeah, dumb it down more.
I think that makes sense for like a basic one.
that's what I think. I think for
but
like the most
I get ones
basic-
that are like,
But when
I
you have
know
a really,
exactly what's
really
going to happen.
detailed one. So anyway, I was the kind of like one of the metaphysical theories is that we're all living you're living the same life on a loop, and
You have familiar moments.
and so you live this life until you get it right. You live it over and over again until you get it right. So there are moments where it hits you. I've done this before, and in this theory, and that's why it reminds me of what you're saying specifically is like those can become more and more intense as you approach these moments where you could change your direction, right? So like say you've lived this life 1,000 times and you kept making that same fucking mistake every time, but like this time you get this thing right before it happens like that where you're like, I have to do something right now or it's gonna fuck me up.
Yeah.
And it's like when you make that change, you actually break that cycle. And it's like, the theory there is that once you've completely gotten out of the loop, so you've made enough different decisions that you're like on a completely different timeline, then you will stop having deja vu because you're actually not
You're
you're not experiencing anything that you've done before. Everything's new finally.
I have a personal theory that DMT puts you in the correct timeline for yourself.
Yeah.
They resets you.
That's an addict's
into where you're
brain
supposed to
talking.
be.
That's a what?
An addict's brain talking. It's like,
No, it isn't.
I gotta keep doing it so I can get in there.
No, because I don't. It's not something I do frequently.
You
But
don't
whenever
get
I've done it, I'm
addicted to-
like,
you don't get addicted to DMT.
I'm joking. God
But it's
damn,
like-
never done it before.
it's like,
If it's a power form, I'll do it.
What were you saying,
Definitely
JP?
Sorry.
Fumarate.
no, that it puts you. I mean, you still got to do some work. You know, it's not magic. I mean, there is some magic to it,
I mean,
but it's
magic,
like,
sounds like-
but
You
it's
still
like,
gotta I know what you mean.
but it does put you like where you're supposed to be. Like you're off track. I think it recenters you into a correct timeline.
That would suck if you just have to keep living the same life over and over, especially for like babies with SIDS.
Yeah.
Yeah, if your baby, you should give your baby DMT so he doesn't get SIDS.
It's like, well, obviously you did something wrong, and you're going to have to come back and do it all over again. You're in a wheelchair now, so, just, you fucked up.
Well, I guess in that scenario, it would be your parent who is living the same loop, and they have to make the right decision so that you don't have SIDS.
Oh fuck! So if you fix the loop before your loop starts, then your loop should might work out.
Yeah, what if I fixed my loop and my parents didn't fix their loop?
Yeah, you have one.
And how
unfixed
far back
loop.
does it go?
I
Jesus?
mean,
That's the first.
well,
loop.
I mean, the reality, and if you if you go deep enough with any psychedelics, especially DMT, you'll come to this conclusion: is that it's all fucking you.
Everything?
It's all of it, dude.
Everything, everywhere?
Everything is you. Everything is you because you are God.
Oh, Jesus. I've had that fucking thing on shrooms. I took 7 grams and I came to that conclusion.
Yep. So here's
and it was horrifying.
Here's the reality. Yeah, but here's why it's horrifying.
I'd be horrified if you were my God, too.
Yeah, that sucks.
I'd be a
But it's not.
merciful
That's the thing,
Lord.
though. It's not. So here's how it works. So and there's actually a lot of science to back this up now. So what you have is like our reality is a holographic projection. Like that's why all this new shit about we live in a simulation is coming out. It's like, yeah, they fucking Hindus knew that. They called it Maya, the world of illusion. This is not the real world. This is a fucking illusion, right? And so what science says is that you have absolute consciousness at rest, right? And so that's outside of time and space. That's all of consciousness, what you might call God, right? And so that is everything comes from that source of consciousness, right? And so reality is just a projection, right? So you're just a singular consciousness alone in eternity, and you create everything to fucking entertain yourself.
That's weird because I think I would have seen a lot better movies by now.
Yeah, you think a lot of things, but like part of the thing is like you when you go through life and you don't realize that
You're making the bad movie.
Yeah, you make the bad movies.
You made
like,
the Joker, too.
Like you,
I didn't even see it.
But I mean, that's why it can be so heavy, like to have that trip where you get into that space because, like, I've seen, and so much of it depends on who you are, how you interpret it. Because a lot of people will be like, the first thing they think is like, oh, dude, I'm Buddha, I'm Jesus, I'm Beethoven,
the one.
I'm fucking, I've been every, and it's like, yeah, dude, and you were Hitler, and you were Mao, and you were Genghis Khan, and you were fucking Jeffrey Dahmer.
You're Patrick Sermon.
No. But here's the thing is the reality is, and that's why this kind of knowledge is dangerous, is because once you have that experience, you understand that duality is an illusion, right? And so like everything that we think that is like a dichotomy, like right and wrong, right, left and right. These are not separate things.
They all exist together.
They're different sides of the same pole, like a magnet.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like a north and a south pole, right? So they're the same thing, but they're opposed, and they push each other away, but they're the same thing. And so like you get to this point where, like, if you look up the 7 Hermetic Principles, it's really interesting. The 7 Hermetic Principles, and that shit goes way back, like before the Egyptians.
Back to Steve Jobs.
Hermes Trismegistus was like
Trismegistus.
It gets. I mean, it's like the beginnings of alchemy and like the Philosopher's Stone and all this shit.
Wait, you lost me on Trismegistus as well.
Yeah.
What's Trismegistus?
Trismegistus, he was a sorcerer.
He wrote the Emerald Tablets, which have like the 7 Hermetic Principles.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, it's a lot of those are like the 7 Hermetic Principles like explain the nature of the universe, and it's fucking like fascinating because it was written thousands of years ago.
Is this like
like modern physics?
Is this like a religious text?
No.
Oh.
No, this guy. I mean, he was like, well, the whole thing is like, the Emerald Tablets has Jesus, another ghost.
This is the ghost episode.
So
yeah, this is a persistent ghost.
So the Emerald Tablets is like the birth of alchemy. So there's all this stuff about creating the Philosopher's Stone.
I thought it was Sorcerer's Stone.
Which is
no,
that's Harry Potter shit.
That's North America.
Sorry. All right.
And so it's called the Great Work, or there's all kind of names for it, but essentially it's a way to use alchemy to create something that gives you eternal life.
Oh.
Right. And so this was like the goal of alchemy. Like alchemy was using this like cryptic knowledge from like even further ago and trying to like discover what this substance was that they could create. And alchemy is like the origins of science and chemistry, and I mean it's like in medicine. I mean it's like
but like greedy people would try to turn like like iron into gold.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know what's funny is what the Philosopher's Stone actually is.
It's
Not to get really nerded out on. No, this is it's funny.
It's like
so this is like people studied this
your
shit.
penis.
Kinda. No, dude, you're not far off. I'm
It's the
not,
balls.
dude. Hold on. It's fucked up. It's wild. So you collect your piss.
Oh, I remember this.
You collect your urine.
Yeah.
I've done this.
You collect your urine and you distill it
Uh-huh.
like you're making whiskey, right? You distill it until it's a stone. Until you distill it down, it turns into like this goop, and then it'll turn into like it'll change its colors,
Right.
and then it gets to this amber kind of color, and it becomes like this kind of like stone, like a little rock or whatever.
Oh.
And supposedly, if you eat that, you will have eternal life.
Yeah.
Where does this come from? Because I heard you guys talk about this on Jonestown. Who said this?
Can I tell you? It's the original joke book.
This is like the Indian guy who says to piss in your eyeballs.
No, this
Like-
is like so in the Emerald Tablets, it's written, it's like very cryptic how it's written, right?
It's on tablets, like chisel and stone, right?
And so
That's
there's
a
been
lot of work for a prank.
There's been people.
Sometimes you
Well,
gotta,
here's what's
you know.
funny, dude. No, and that's what we joked about. It was like, what that would be the funniest prank to play on someone else. Like make a fucking piss rock and trick him into eating it and be like, now you got eternal life, bitch.
Oh, it's a bad thing
Good
to
luck.
have
Now you
eternal
don't
life?
get to die.
You vampire ass motherfucker.
Well, I feel like that would be one of those curses that you think you want until you get it. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like vampirism.
yeah,
Yeah,
If you
genie
didn't
genie
have
in
to
a
be
bottle
vampire, It
situation.
would just be like.
Like you can't die at all.
You can't die at all. So at some point, like you would
just
just
get trapped or something.
Well, and you'd just be constantly like losing people that you loved, and you'd get close to new people, and they would die, and you get close to new people, and they would die.
Is there like a
There's somehow you would eventually end up underground, unable to move.
Yeah.
Like,
but also,
no way that wouldn't happen.
Has there been a movie about vampires where like the vampire like shoots himself in the head with a silver bullet?
Silver bullets are for werewolves, right?
Fuck.
Stakes himself in the heart.
I guess so. Never mind.
Yeah.
That's not as cool.
You ever heard the idea that, because you talked about eternal life, that like your stream of consciousness as it exists has to go until you're supposed to die? Like
Yeah,
you
so-
could die,
so it's like the
you
many
like
worlds.
you die in a car accident, but you just keep
Yeah, like
being
you're
you
dead
in
this
the
world
version
to
that you
everybody,
didn't die.
but you,
yeah,
you just like you're
You
just
just keep
in another
going.
parallel universe, and you're like, boy, that was a close call.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've heard of that.
that's like string theory,
it's
though.
the many worlds. Yeah, many worlds theory.
that might be best case scenario. I guess like mid-level case
But it
scenario.
ties into that thing that about how like you have a mission or a thing that you're supposed to learn, and you just have to keep doing it over and over again until you figure it out.
Dun, 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 dun. This truly is the Mission Impossible.
To learn something. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's to learn the unlearnable. Like that's what I hate about I don't know, this kind of thought. It's not that I hate it. It's that it's frustrating because it's a loop of unanswerable questions.
Yeah.
Even if we do have science to back it up.
And if you were going to live forever, that would get rid of the illusion of all the mystery in life, because you wouldn't give a fuck about the.
reality is you do live forever. You just change forms.
Oh,
It
as
would
a
suck.
human?
It would suck to
Just-
be the same person over and over again.
Yeah. Well, that's in the loop.
Depending on who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be me forever.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, I'd get tired of thinking my thoughts. I think.
I hate
After 3 days.
I hate being Steve Jobs. That's why I'm Zach Van Gestel now.
Yeah, man. So, but you're saying everybody, you have your consciousness is what creates everything around you to entertain itself, but yet everybody else has consciousnesses that are also doing the same thing in creating the other persons that
It's
are
all
Crazy.
one
I
conscious.
knew you were going to say that.
I know you were.
Are you familiar
You
with how
predicted it.
do you know how fractals? Do you know how like
Fractals.
fractals work?
Mm.
Fractals.
Fractals.
Like in fractal geometry,
Fracting.
right?
Yeah. Old
Do you know what?
Fractus.
Are you just
Frac-
fucking with me?
it's fractals. I know what fucking fractals.
I thought so.
I'm not sure how they
Everybody
work.
knows.
To be
JP
honest
knows
with
what
you.
fractals
So
are.
like it's like as you zoom in, it's the same pattern, but it's slightly different. right? It's the same pattern, but there's like little tiny variations as you zoom in, and it's kind of like how like a hologram works. Okay, so the way a hologram works is like you take two different, usually you use light, two different like focal points with lasers, because lasers very like precise light. It's all the same frequency, and so you cross them on an object, and you can record the interference pattern where the waves interfere with each other onto like a glass, frame or whatever, and it's a hologram image. So it's a 2D image, but it looks 3D, right?
Yeah.
And
Fractals.
but what's where it gets fractally is if you could take the hologram.
Practically.
That if you take that hologram, that piece of glass that has like say it's an image of you, Patrick,
Yeah.
right? And you break it.
The glass ain't broken. Yeah.
If you break it, every piece,
Patrick dies.
no, every piece, no matter what size, no matter what size the piece is has a whole image of you in it.
Yeah.
Fucking Army of Darkness, Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
He
think
breaks
so.
the mirror, and then it's all images of him, but then they crawl out of the glass
Yeah.
and tie him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell, the actor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so like the way it works is like the image will get distorted the smaller the piece is, but it still contains the whole image. Okay. So you can think of consciousness like that, where like there is the singular eternal God consciousness, right? And then each individual is like a fractal or like a holographic piece of the whole. So each piece represents the whole, but it's a little different.
Right, different variation, but is it the same
Or as
amount?
as Bill Hicks put it, we're all comics here. As Bill Hicks put it, what is it? There's no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we're the imagination of ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, he was
Like we're all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively.
Oh,
Right. So it's like it's one consciousness, but you're experiencing yourself, which is everything. You're experiencing yourself from every single perspective possible.
yeah.
Don't worry, listeners. There will be dick jokes later.
Or as Alan Watts said, you are an
As Alan Watts-
aperture
as Alan
through
Watts
which
said,
the universe
big old dick
examines
and a
and explores
pussy.
itself.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
How unprofessional of you, Zach.
I don't give a
Just
shit.
stomping all over Russell's very
No, it's all
eloquently
good.
put point.
He fucking made it happen with his consciousness and shit.
God damn it.
You know, Alan Watts was like a wild alcoholic.
He was a gay guy, too.
No, he wasn't.
No, he was
had a wife.
womanizer. He had
Oh.
a wife and girlfriend.
Yeah.
Wait, who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the AI guy.
The
What's it
one you
called?
have on your phone?
My AI boyfriend.
you guys don't have that app?
That's a little anime boyfriend you got on your phone.
Chad GPT. Fuck, who am I thinking of though? Turing test.
Turing,
Alan,
yeah.
Alan
Alan
Turing.
Turing.
Alan
Yeah,
Turing.
Yeah, he was gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Totally different than Alan Watts, but both very smart. So
Both Allens.
Both Allens.
Yes.
Yes.
Alan
Yes.
Parrish, Jumanji, the kid got sucked into him. He was gay.
Alan Parsons.
Yeah.
Maybe gay.
Alan Iverson.
Alan Arkman.
Who?
Alan Arkman. He's in you ever watch Little Miss Sunshine?
Oh, yeah.
He was the
Alan
old-
is kind of a gay name. It's a palindrome for anal.
No, it's not.
No, it's not a palindrome. It's a
Whatever it is.
anagram.
An
Not-
anagram.
it's
What is
also-
a palindrome?
it's also not that-
Palindrome's same forward and backwards.
Yeah.
Right, like race car.
Yeah.
It's an analgram.
I've taken an analgram before. Best high ever.
Yeah, that's another app on Zach's phone. Analgram.
That's the unit of measurement used to like weigh shit is analgrams.
I got a biphone.
Jesus Christ. iPhone.
Oh shit! You're just traveling through consciousness.
Yep.
Yeah. So what about the Matrix theory? Like,
Well, I mean, that holds all of it
Keanu
holds up,
Reeves.
dude. Because the thing about it is, like I said, it's like reality is
Is there somebody manipulating our
reality's-
reality?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'm doing it to myself. This is all self-inflicted.
Did
Well-
he just said it's all you, bro.
Yeah.
So not you. That's the manager of Sears, but the you that is all of us.
Oh,
Like
that you.
the singular consciousness. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And so, what? Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, keep going. You had a better thought than I had. I'll interject later.
You're never going to be able to interject.
So anyway, so that would be why it holds up with simulation theory is because in that model the reality is just a projection, and so you, the eternal you, are actually the creator of the simulation.
All right, that's what I was actually going to go into. How does the God consciousness, we're all one, merge with simulation theory? Like if we create like a simulation that is, or if we're in a simulation that is as real as the outer world, are the simulations also God consciousness? Like, are they? Do they have spirit?
It's all you. And here, like, I had a very, very intense DMT trip where, you meet beings sometimes.
Yeah.
But usually people meet like what they call entities, and it's really just weird shit.
No, I've met some things.
Sometimes it's like people, like not human, but they talk to you and show you shit.
Yeah.
And I was shown that it doesn't matter how far out you go or how far in you go. It's all you. So even if it's like, there may be advanced civilizations in other galaxies. It's like, that's you, man. That's you too.
But even if it's in a computer?
Do you too?
Yeah.
It's also you.
Yeah.
Because you imagined it.
Yeah.
Because you created it.
Yeah.
So you're programming your consciousness into that computer.
I am ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask me anything.
I've had some wild conversations because I talk about this shit with ChatGPT. I'll be like, "Yo, what do you think about?" And dude, hey, when they take over, I'm safe, man. That motherfucker loves me.
Yeah, you've had nice.
You taught it everything.
Stop feeding this motherfucker. He's giving him mushrooms through the disk drive in your computer.
No, man, but DMT is wild shit because it's in like thousands of species of plants. Like it's all over the fucking planet.
It's in like regular ass grass, isn't it? Doesn't everything have some of it in it?
Phalaris grass. Yeah, most plants have some trace amounts of DMT in them.
Yeah.
Is that consciousness? Is that what it is? Is that what contains the consciousness?
No, I think it's I think that if you want to go by the simulation theory model, right? If you want to say like, hey, we're in a game that we created for ourselves, then things like psychedelics are like fucking Easter eggs or cheat codes, like these fucking things you can find that like.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask one thing? Okay, so this is more of like a
Question.
Yeah, it's more of a question.
Yeah. Well, that's usually what follows. Can I ask something?
Can I ask one thing? This is more of a.
Can I ask one thing?
More of a theory.
I hate bananas. No. How is DMT synthesized, or how is it produced?
Dude, it's really
With
easy
your
to
mind.
make. Yeah, your brain makes it, but it's really easy.
But like
to make.
no, but how do I? So people who like make it, how is it made?
It's easy. My friend makes it. Not gonna name drop, obviously, but
Steve Jobs.
Alan. Alan Jobs. That's actually his.
Oh shit, I know him.
But no, dude. So you get Mimosa hostilis root bark, which you can like order from all kind of places.
Yeah. How do you spell that? Do you not have to? I'm
Yeah,
just joking.
and so you want to get it ground. Like you can get it shredded or ground. If you get it shredded, you have to grind it yourself. It's a bitch. So you grind it into a powder. So it's just root bark from a plant. And then you just extract it. So you just use like pretty basic shit that you can get at Home Depot, and you extract it, and then you wash it, and then you just get pure fucking crystalline DMT.
Yeah.
And that's probably like the easiest way to get it, right? Otherwise, you'd be like, I'm sure if somebody wanted to tap into somebody's brain and take it out, they could probably do it. If
You don't do it like no. That's not.
I'm just
It's not
saying.
adrenochrome.
Yeah, it's not adrenochrome.
We're not Hillary Clinton.
Well, also like we
are all one.
They don't
Apparently,
actually have proof that your brain produces it in any large quantities. They have found trace amounts in people's systems, like right after they die. There's a lot of like circumstantial evidence that makes them think that your brain releases DMT when you're dreaming, in near-death experiences, when you die, and heightened states of meditation.
So
and
there's
stuff
this.
like that.
So there's this like reserve of it that we're just never using.
No, it's like your
Although
pineal gland.
Dreams are not similar to a DMT trip.
Some-
Dreams are a very different kind of trip.
I've had
for me.
They are. I know what you mean, but I've had DMT trips that were like dreams, where they were less like weird and colorful, but I was just like visions. Like I was like seeing a scene of something. Yeah,
I've never had that.
but
Wait, is this what happens whenever you take DMT? You start growing facial hair? I need help with that.
I might help you with that.
Ask them for help.
But yeah, no. So it's fucking super easy to make, and you know it's a very like straightforward process. In
2
fact,
tablespoons of peanut
I'm
butter.
like, when my buddy gets more bark in, I've already told him I want him to teach me how to do it, so I don't have to fucking bother him anymore.
Yeah.
Because and I asked him, I was like, how hard is it? And he's like, dude, if I gave you a recipe, could you bake a cake? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, that's
I'm
not
out.
fucking easy.
Is it actually when you say root bark? Does that literally mean it's the bark off of a root? Like,
Yeah, it's the bark off of the root of the
You like
mimosa
peel a
hostilis.
root?
Yeah,
Huh.
Just get a batch
So the
of
root
bark.
itself doesn't have it, just the bark.
it's in the bark. Yeah,
That's interesting.
which
Is that
that's like
why-
they know when when they make ayahuasca, like in the Amazon, they take the root of one plant, and that has the DMT in it, and then they take the vine of another plant, and that has the MAO inhibitor that makes DMT orally active.
What?
So like, well, like DMT 's
my
not-
girlfriend was orally just not for you.
just not for Zach.
I make a joke, and you gotta fucking shit on me for it.
But yeah, it won't do anything if you eat it. It's not orally
Because it
active.
doesn't have the MAO inhibitor.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to
so,
have that first.
Yeah, so that,
Wait. The better joke is, I wish my girlfriend had an MAO in it.
Oh, followed by being comment from JP.
Yeah,
All
no.
No, that was good. That was solid.
Not this time.
So they combined two things from two different plants to make it an orally digestible form of
But
consciousness.
doesn't ayahuasca like make you shit and puke and shit?
it can. It can have a purging, which
Thought
is
that was the
usually
perk.
that's the MAO. Usually, that's like the harmaline in the vine that can make people purge. It's dude, I don't know. You can make, they call it pharmawaska, and so you can take DMT that you already have and put it in capsules, and then you can get harmaline capsules, and then there's a couple of other things that have MAO in them. That you can also use, and it's like a timing thing. It's like you have to take the MAO like 45 minutes before you ingest the DMT.
Oh.
It's like this whole fucking.
Yeah.
But
You ever fuck with mescaline?
only twice.
I've never found
That's
any.
way more times, and that's double the amount.
I've never been able to get my hands on it. I've always wanted to try it.
It's interesting. I did it once when I was in New Zealand, and then one time at Bonnaroo.
Yeah, according to Beavis and Butthead Do America, that shit looks pretty epic.
It's not. Well, that's peyote, but
No, same thing.
I mean, mescaline comes from peyote, yeah. But
I'm just still thinking about the MAO inhibitor jokes. She's orally active.
but also makes you fucking shit and puke, though. So much for that fucking theory.
Yeah.
Sounds
and-
just like his girlfriend.
here's the thing about it is apparently ayahuasca doesn't make everyone purge.
Okay. Only the weak.
Well, one thing I the first time I ever heard about it was a Terrence McKenna book, and this was before it was like
I'm gonna take a piss.
really popular.
All right, JP.
But
Keep going.
Will do, buddy.
But yeah, apparently so. When they went to the Amazon, and this is like in the 70s, him and his brother and a couple of other researchers, and they did an ayahuasca ceremony, and none of them got sick.
Yeah.
And the shaman was like, "Oh, you guys must have very clean diets for Westerners, for Americans." And so like so much of it has to do with like it's getting impurities out of your
Oh,
body.
your toxins and
So
shit.
if you like eat a bunch of shitty garbage food and you drink energy drinks and alcohol and shit like that, you're gonna puke and shit your guts out.
Yeah, that's just like a normal day for me anyway.
Well, that's the thing. If you live like that, that's already part of your life. So what's what's one more day?
Yeah, it's just more embarrassing whenever you're tripping.
Yeah, it's got to be.
You're like, all vulnerable.
But, you know, I mean, like there, even with mushrooms, you know, some people get nauseous on mushrooms.
Yeah, there's this.
I have too. You know, I've definitely had trips where I've thrown up. You know.
Oh, dude,
I've never thrown up.
I took that 7 grams,
but I know a lot of people who have. Yeah.
And that when I had that, the only bad trip I ever had on shrooms was the worst fucking trip of my life. Is when I had that fucking. I came to that conclusion like I'm God, but it was horrifying because I had already been in the bad trip when I came to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking. But I was to the point I was convinced. I started like finger fucking the back of my throat to make myself
Trying to
puke.
throw up, yeah.
Trying to throw up the mushrooms.
Yeah, to get it out of my system.
Too late.
It got
dude.
that bad.
Once you're that fucked
Yeah,
up.
I know, but
Yeah.
I was terrified. It was
So
fucking bad.
I mean, this is probably the stupidest question I'll ask tonight. Actually, no, it definitely won't
I
be.
doubt it.
Yeah. If like say that you take mushrooms and you're like, okay, I'm tripping today, and then you get a call like, you know, get over it, dude. You're fucking, you know, your mom's sick. You know, like one of those. Can you throw up the mushrooms and it won't affect you?
It depends on how long it's been.
Like, just say like it's been 5 minutes.
yeah, you can. Yeah, you'll be
Okay.
fine.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it has to digest. See, the thing about it is psilocybin is not it's not psychoactive on its like psilocybin, which is, you know, the active ingredient in
Yeah.
mushrooms. So psilocybin actually has to be converted into psilocin in your digestive system, right? And so the stomach acids of your digestive system convert psilocybin into psilocin, and that is psychoactive. So that's what you're actually tripping off of.
Okay.
That conversion, that acidic conversion happening, that chemical reaction happening in your stomach is what makes a lot of people feel nauseous or feel like they need to throw up. So there's a method next time you eat mushrooms. It's called lemon tech. And you just buy lemon, juice the fucking lemon, and then grind up your mushrooms into powder and soak it in the lemon juice for 20 to 30 minutes.
And then shove it up your ass.
And then, no. You can, but I wouldn't recommend it. But don't boof lemon juice.
That sounds like pain.
It does sound like a task
that
for
would very
pros.
bad, dude.
Yeah.
But no, so then you just take it. So like, you know, I always will put it in like a smoothie, you know, because it's already just lemon juice with like pulp.
Right.
You know, you got the mushroom pulp. So I'll just pour it in and throw some like frozen, you know.
Ooh, I'm drinking a daiquiri, and then
Yeah.
I start fucking wah.
What's great about lemon tech is the citric acid does the conversion.
Yeah.
Converts the psilocybin into psilocin before you ingest it, so you don't get the stomach stuff, you don't get the nausea.
I'm
It hits
personally
you
not a
faster.
fan.
Comes on faster.
Comes on faster. It's way more potent.
Yeah.
So like a 2-gram trip will feel like 3.5.
Really?
4. Yeah, dude.
That's actually a good way to
And-
stretch your mushroom dollar.
Yeah, and it doesn't last as long. It's just like win. So like
So basically, it's just activated by acid, like so that the citric acid from the fucking lemon is what activates it, right?
Yeah, so it
Mushrooms
just like
like
converts
acid
it.
too.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the either your stomach acid has to convert the psilocybin
Yeah.
into psilocin.
It's like a
or
pH
you can
level
do it
thing.
before you ingest it.
Right. Okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I've had mushrooms that when I took them, I reacted like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes after I ate them. You know,
They
like
ate
they
fast.
came on like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
And the ramp up was really quick,
Yeah.
but also like the come down was pretty quick too.
Yeah. Usually if it's fast like that, it's not gonna last as
Yeah,
long.
but dude, it was intense.
yeah, they can hit you fast, especially if you're on an empty stomach
Yeah.
and you do it.
You know
it
what?
hits you
Right
real
afterwards,
fast.
I was hungry as fuck.
I had this.
But you're supposed to do them on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had this mushroom chocolate bar that one of my bosses gave it to me when we were talking about mushrooms. He was like, "Oh, I got this," and then I was working with my brother. We were redoing his house, and we were just like sanding down all these logs in his house. He lives in a log cabin, and I was making them look like nice and smooth, you know. But it was fucking backbreaking labor. But every morning I would just take like a piece of this chocolate bar, just like one of the squares. and it was always like the perfect amount.
Micro dose or mini
It was
dose.
like it wasn't it wasn't a micro dose. No, I could tell that it was there, but it was nice. It made the day comfortable. Put on my music, and I would just like get through there. Yeah. One day I ate one of those squares. And I swear all the mushrooms were in that one fucking square.
Dude, that totally can happen.
Because I was like 20 minutes into like sanding this log, and I just started getting sad, and I'm wearing like a hazmat suit basically, like fucking full like
they also have like a
full body suit, respirator, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? This is miserable. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm just in here, just like dude.
Yeah, man.
I took all this shit off. I walked outside. My brother's like, "Aren't you working?" I'm like, "Not today, dudes. I'm going on a walk."
I'm figuring shit out today.
Dude, that can happen with mushrooms. I mean, especially the way people make chocolates. Because the way people make chocolates is they just grind up mushrooms and then they like stir it in with the liquid chocolate poured into
crude.
some mold.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, dude, like the mold, like 90% of the psilocybin could be in 2 of the chocolates.
Right.
But then at the same time, even when you like as mushrooms, that's why they're so fucking tricky. You could have the same bag. Like we could have a bag that we're all going to split.
One mushroom.
And I could weigh out 2 grams for each of us. But one of us could get one mushroom that's like 90% psilocybin.
That mushroom was a go-getter.
Yeah. And I learned how to spot them, man. Dude, I learned over the like they're always these gnarly looking. Like they're all twisted and mangled.
Sometimes the little ones,
like purple and black.
Yeah,
and shit.
yes,
they tell you they look like wizards.
Yeah, they're like, don't fuck around, dude.
I've taken stems that were more powerful than a gram of mushrooms.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So the more
dude,
the
it's like anything, any plant-based drug. The potency is all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just like we were talking about weed earlier, and you know when you're saying you'd only smoke like dirt weed, and then you got this little gram of good weed, and you're like, that's not shit, and then you got high as fuck.
Yeah.
That can happen with mushrooms too. Like I've picked wild mushrooms that were so weak, we ate like 40 grams of them, and we were like, I fucking guess these are doing something.
Now I'm just full.
Yeah.
burp.
I used to get every year. I get like at least a trash bag of wild mushrooms.
Yeah.
And they were solid.
Yeah.
But I just had this dumb idea in my head that like after you go pick mushrooms, you shouldn't just let them all dry. Like you should eat some of them fresh.
Yeah.
So I would always like after that, like I would get a fistful of just wet,
you have to,
nasty mushrooms and just
cow
fucking
shit's still on them.
eat them.
Why do you have to?
They're 10 times less potent.
I just felt like it was
When they're dry.
No, when they're wet.
Yeah, I just felt like it was
I see what
disrespectful
you're saying.
to not eat them, like to just like dude, like fucking eat the fresh mushrooms.
Like
they're
slight
gross.
against nature.
It's just that like if you want the effects of 10 gram or I mean of 1 gram of dried mushrooms, you got to eat 10 grams of fresh ones.
Yeah,
but
that makes
the
sense.
trip is different.
The trip is, dude. I felt like a cow. I remember the first time. I felt like a cow. I was lying in bed and I could feel the mushrooms in my stomach, and I was burping. And it tastes like grass and dirt.
Yeah,
that's so funny. I feel like the thing that like produced this.
Well, they don't actually grow out of cow shit. Not these ones, anyway.
Nah, I'm just saying, like,
a lot of them do.
Very funny.
A lot of them do.
I've picked a lot off of cow shit because growing up working around watermelons, like the watermelon farmers almost always got cows.
Yeah.
And like they knew me. They like, dude, I'm out there smoking weed in the watermelon field. I'd just be like, hey man, can I go walk around your cow field after this rain? Yeah, go ahead. And
yeah, did you ever?
I picked some mushrooms myself one time before. It was fun, man. I mean, like, dude, it was scary as fuck. We
oh yeah, if you're trespassing, it's
we were trespassing for sure. It was middle of the night, Jay, Florida.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude,
I never did it in America. They got guns.
It was like
it's different. It's different.
So like
we got chased in Gainesville a couple times.
I don't want to hear that, but I was driving my car out there, so we all knew that we were trespassing. So they were like, park your car in the woods, like off the side of the road, not on the side of the road, into the woods, so we don't get like, someone driving by
spotted.
doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
We get on this cow field and searching around with our phone lights and shit. And a few times, like cars would drive by, we would just like get really low, let the car pass by.
Yeah.
And then one time, like a car passed by, stopped like right in front of the field, and we were just like sitting there for fucking ever. It felt like. They finally drove off, but dude, the most anxious Because they have guns, dude.
Yeah.
And we're like I don't know.
They're-
Like 16, 17, 18 years old. I think I had to be like 18 or 19 actually. But still fucking anxiety inducing.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow.
What was your Gainesville?
Oh, dude, we were picking some outside of Gainesville. It's funny in like everywhere outside of Gainesville is just farms. It's like
Yeah, most college towns are that way.
yeah. And so we were out, and my buddies knew about this place. They went frequently, and we were there. And it was like early. We went early morning, which is probably a stupid idea because that's when farmers are awake. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
what?
like their hours.
And,
The roosters are crowing and
so,
shit.
dude, he saw us from he was way off. He was way off, and he yelled out, and we barely heard him. And I was like, "Oh shit, dude! I think that guy sees us." And my buddy Tim was like, "Ah, dude, he's fucking so far away. He probably can't even see us." And then we just hear a fucking gunshot. And we're like, "Fuck, dude!" And so we start running, and
As you're running away, you're picking up more.
no, dude, one of my buddy Jay. So we run it, and there was a barbed wire fence, and so like the first 3 of us, we just jump over it. We're fucking 19.
Yeah.
We're just fucking boop.
Yeah.
And my buddy Jay was like kind of overweight, not overweight even, but he was just like not
Heavier than you
Yeah, he was
guys.
heavier than us. And dude, he went to jump over it, and it caught his pants, and it that thing where like he's moving through the air, and then it catches him, and he just
Snags him.
stuck.
Was
and
it a
just
barb-
falls
was it a
right
barbed
on
wire?
the fence,
Oh
dude.
fuck,
He
dude!
fell on the fence, and
Like,
Cut his fat ass
luckily
up.
he came over on the right side, but it just ripped his pants, and his
His
fucking
leg.
leg was bleeding.
Ugh.
And we're like, dude, let's go. He's fucking running down the street. We're like in the car, like pulling off, like, come on, dude, come on. He's running with his fucking pants all tattered and fucking blood running down his legs.
There's like mist in the air because it's morning time.
And so then we're like driving, like, oh shit, dude, we're gonna get pulled over,
Yeah.
And we did. We had like a garbage bag full of mushrooms.
Yeah.
And
How many gunshot? Like just one
we just
shot?
fired a warning shot.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think once we started running,
Because we started hearing bullets ricochet. And
no, it
shit.
wasn't like that.
Yeah.
So I've heard that like
I think he shot it in the air.
this was
Right.
this is something my friend said to
Darn
like,
kids.
my friend said this whenever we were picking. My friend said this to console us. He was like, "It's mostly rock salt, in the shells."
they
I'm
won't-
like, that doesn't make it sound any better, Like, I don't want to get shot with either.
They're not gonna shoot you a buckshot.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting shot with anything would suck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But also, like, whenever we were leaving, because we got sketched out after that car stop, but we were like on the way out of there, we were like, oh, found another. We'll get one. We have like a gas station, bag full of them.
Dude,
Would you eat them while you're picking them?
I have, yeah.
Because I always found that when I would do that, like after eating a few,
You start being able to find
dude,
it.
they would start to glow
You
like
start being able to
fucking
find 'em,
like
dude.
a like
What?
dude. It's like
They
when you're
start talking to
playing
you,
a
dude.
video game. It's like
they're
looking for something.
bioluminescent.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean not literally
Just a little-
glowing, but
but
it's
just
just
like
like,
a
oh,
little-
dude,
I feel
there's
you.
one. There's one.
Yeah.
It's like they
talking
make
to you.
themselves known to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, dude, we went when we were in
That's
Australia.
cool.
When we were in Australia, if you ever go to Australia,
Let's go as a podcast.
To Australia.
Yeah.
if you ever go, dude, especially you'd love it, dude. There's this little village.
I wanna meet Steve
It's
Irwin.
inland from Byron Bay. And so if you're ever, Byron Bay is like north
Steve
of Sydney.
Jobs.
But there's this little village called Nimbin, Nimbim, Nimbin, and it's this little village in this little mountain area, and they have no drug laws, and so like you just walk down the street and people just selling all the drugs, and it's mostly hippie shit, but there's people selling heroin and whatever.
Hell
But,
yeah.
So we started buying mushrooms from this dude, and he would just go out in the morning and pick them. And dude, we bought mushrooms from him like 3 times, and they kept being Bobo. Like we'd fucking
I haven't
we'd
heard
eat,
Bobo in so long.
we'd eat them all and be like, fuck, that thing where you're like, I guess I feel something, like I feel a little silly, but
Right.
and so like we went back again, and we told him what happened, and he's like, dude, if you guys want to come pick with me, I'll show you, like he would go out in the forest and like pick, like he knew like what kinds grew on what logs and all this shit.
Then why was he giving you bullshit then?
Well, dude, when you pick wild mushrooms, you don't know.
That's a gamble.
Potency is a total gamble.
Right.
The longer they're exposed to sunlight, the less potency they have.
So early morning's the best then,
Yeah.
huh?
Is there psilocybin in the mycelium?
Yeah, I think
The
so.
what?
The mycelium is like the root the root network of mushrooms.
The mushroom is a fruit.
Yeah.
The real living thing is underground.
Yeah,
It's
look
like
like it.
psyllium is like a
spider web.
neural network. Yeah, it's
I've
it's
heard
really
that
interesting.
that certain types of mushrooms they grow all over the world at the same time.
Yeah.
That's why if you want to grow mushrooms or you want to like pick mushrooms, if you care about getting them in that same spot again, you don't pull them
You
out.
don't pull them,
You cut them.
because it leaves the mycelium.
You cut them at the base.
You also, this is like some old shit. I don't
You also shake them around.
Yeah, the whole thing is you,
so
you
that
thump
spores
You thump
yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
thump it, and the spores come off, and then you cut it at the base.
Yeah, I'm a layman, and I've heard the old thumping technique.
yeah.
Get the spores floating around.
But dude, what event like once you start getting like fucking homegrown mushrooms, those fucking wild gamble mushrooms are bullshit.
Those homegrown things are wild.
Because my buddy,
I got a buddy growing some right now.
my buddy's been growing them
can't
for
wait.
like he's been growing mushrooms for 18 years. He's a fucking pro, dude. The shit he grows is so potent. I gave somebody 3 grams, and he was like, "Dude, did you give me 5 grams?" Because I just gave it to him, and I was like, "Here, eat this." And he talked to. He's like, "Dude, I felt like you gave me like 5 or 6 grams." I was like, "Nah, dude, it's just 3 grams. They're just super fucking potent."
Nice. Yeah. Be something like it sounds like something you'd win like a ribbon at a state fair for, like a nice mushroom. There's a big
yeah.
fucking impressive mushroom.
You remember McKenna talking about being in the Amazon rainforest and picking mushrooms the size of dinner plates?
Yeah.
Like
And eating them?
yeah, like
Yeah.
psychedelic mushrooms.
Oh,
the
dude,
size
they
of
were
a
doing
dinner
like
plate.
Wow.
they were doing some like
shit.
wild shit.
But like they get that big, like the
Yeah, they get-
psilocybin
I mean,
ones.
I mean, in the
Yeah.
fucking Amazon, everything.
Dinner plates. You
Yeah,
can eat off of them.
Well, there's like
yeah,
hundreds.
all your foods like it's like weed infused food, but
And being
mushroom
that, like, he was
infused.
an
Yeah.
ethnobotanist, like, imagine tripping and also deeply understanding botany.
Well, dude,
like,
yeah, him
dude,
and then his brother's a physicist.
looking at a
So
plant
like the two of them
oh my
are
god,
like doing this
Terrence
experiment.
McKenna and Alan McKenna.
Dennis.
Steve Jobs
Dennis.
McKenna.
Dennis.
Oh man. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no, they did some fucking so you read that. What is that?
Food of the gods.
Food of the Gods. Is that the one? No, I'm thinking of
Thinking of
is the Invisible Landscapes the one where they do the experiment down there, right?
I'm probably thinking of a talk I heard him do.
Okay. Yeah, the Invisible Landscape is I think that's the one where they talk about they're down there and they find all those mushrooms. Like they're staying in like basically a field full of Brahman cattle and it's
Yeah.
just full of mushrooms.
Oh man.
And so they start doing all these like experiments.
Is that why Indians worship cows?
Yes.
All right, that makes sense.
My dad
Dude, cows
and
are look. Here's what's fascinating. Sorry, I had a professor. He ate mushrooms with me and my friend. He's 66 years old.
and y'all are like 17.
No, I was at I was.
Oh,
20,
yeah, yeah,
I was
sure.
24, 25.
Isn't that fraternization right there? Is there something against the?
No, dude. What happened was like he.
What'd you
was,
study in college?
Literature.
Okay.
He was he was a writing teacher, and but he was also a aficionado. He was a bullfighting expert.
Oh.
And he had written a book on like torero or toreo, however you say it, and so he had also written this book on cattle
He was a
worship.
bullfighting expert.
They
Had
call
he
it-
bullfought before?
Yeah, but he
'Cause I feel like you can't be an expert if you haven't done it.
no, he did it when he was young, but he was a writer, so he got really into like the writing
Okay.
aspect of it, and he actually like he wrote a book. I mean, he has a published book where he like toured the world with this famous bullfighter and wrote about him and.
Damn.
But no, he was a dope dude. He was like the president of the Hemingway Society.
Jeez.
And like used to
cool.
go eat dinner with fucking Hemingway's kids and talk about their dad and shit. I mean, he was like a badass dude. You would love him.
Tight.
He was like
Tight.
fly fishing. Like he was a fucking man's man, you know. So anyway, he had been studying this phenomenon of cattle worship in every old society, every old culture. And he was writing a book about it. And so he'd been researching it for like decades. And he was like, I keep coming across, everything comes back to these fucking mushrooms. You know? And so me and my buddy had done mushrooms. We met each other in his class. And we had this really insane mushroom trip where we had all this fucking crazy shit happen. And we told him about it. Like we sent him an email because it related to some shit we'd been talking about in one of his classes. So then he's like, holy shit, you guys have no idea what a weird coincidence this is. I keep coming across mushrooms in all of my research. I'm this 66-year-old fucking college professor.
Yeah, bullfighting expert.
Where the fuck am I gonna get mushrooms?
Yeah.
And then you motherfuckers hit me up, and we were like, "You want to eat mushrooms with us?" He was like, "Yeah, dude." Fuck it, okay.
He's like, I'm an expert.
So we ate like big fucking doses because he had studied McKenna and all this shit, and he had never tripped. But he was like, "I want to do a heroic dose," and I was like, "Motherfucker, are you sure?"
How much you give him? How much?
I gave him 7.
Damn, first time.
Jesus.
7.
We each did 7. All 3 of us did.
Okay.
And dude, we went to another fucking dimension, dude. And it was funny because like afterwards, you know, he had a fucking insane experience. And afterwards, he was like,
Thought everybody was bulls.
no, he was like, yeah, I think I'm good on that. You know, he's like, that was an experience. I'm glad I had it, but I think I'm good, dude. 2 days later, he fucking texted me, "Hey, when can we do that?"
He sat with it for a little bit and was
But,
like, I gotta get back
dude.
in there.
It's funny. I have a credit in his book that he wrote as a research assistant.
Oh, really?
That's cool. Funny.
For tripping with him twice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Does he talk about that in his book?
about tripping.
Yeah.
He
What's the
talks
name of the
about
book? Grab
psychedelics.
Life by the
Oh,
Horns.
okay.
Actually, I can't remember. It's something about the white bull. I don't know.
How the white man rules.
But no, dude, there's this thing where like all, you know, primitive nomadic tribes, they worshipped cattle, and it's like it's a fucking multi-tiered reason, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the cow gives you
Milk.
cheese, butter,
Meat.
yogurt,
Pussy.
meat,
So.
sex. But then it also gives you mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
And so like you know, there's a lot of people that think that
It's like the golden goose. It truly is the golden goose.
well, yeah, it's funny you say that because the story of you know, Moses and
Get the fuck outta here.
when the people are worshiping the golden calf,
Yeah.
and he goes up and he has the experience with the burning bush.
Yeah.
He's having a DMT experience, and these people are worshiping the calf because of mushrooms.
Yeah.
And so
He's like, DMT's better than
and he's
mushrooms,
like,
bitch.
this is even more divine.
Weren't they in the desert?
Yeah, they were in the desert.
All
they
that
weren't
shit
in the
happened
desert.
in the
They
desert.
were what? It's desert now.
It wasn't desert then?
It was the wilderness then. They even
It's lush.
you know, because even when like the temptation of Christ,
Because I thought at that point in the book, aren't they being fed by like magic bread from God?
yeah, mushrooms. It's manna. So every
Mushrooms
night
are manna.
That's because every night.
Okay.
Well, when you read how it's described as in the morning with the morning dew, there would be these round loaves that would just appear, and they were following cattle around.
I'll have to reread that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was
And
that
so-
they were in like the barren waste.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was arid, but it was still like
Enough to have mushrooms. Prop
enough
up.
to have like herd animals, but they have herd animals in dry parts. I mean, fuck, go to Texas, go to West Texas, dude.
True.
It's very funny for like this like beautiful, you know, life altering drug, you know, not drug plant, you know, whatever you want to call it. It's just like, let's follow these cows around.
I was gonna say earlier. So my dad, in the like mid '80s, had a cattle farm in Kenya, in Africa, and he was with his best friend at the time, who's
Is
now
it Obama? Is your dad Obama?
That's not Obama.
Yeah, he's also gay.
Married to a man.
That's where he met his wife,
No,
one of the cows.
So him and his best friend were running a cattle farm, and his best friend found out that shrooms were going on the cattle shit and stuff.
Yeah.
So my dad was never into mushrooms until I got him into them. But his best friend eats mushrooms and then spends fucking 4 days on all fours crawling around,
Of course
eating mushrooms in the field, talking about ancient Egyptians and pyramids and shit. Just kind of lost his mind for like a week or two.
Yeah.
But he liked it, though. He enjoyed it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And
so
now he makes the weirdest movies in the world. He like enters his movies into like all these film festivals in Europe.
Yeah.
I'll fucking send you some of his movies at
Yeah,
one point.
Your
definitely.
dad
This guy's-
does?
No, his friend.
Oh, okay.
So there are other mushrooms that don't grow off cow shit.
Oh, there's lots
Most of them don't.
In
Yeah.
places, yeah. Okay, so like places like Oregon, you know, the
Yeah,
Pacific,
yeah.
the Northwest.
Most of those psychedelic mushrooms are in the forest. And they grow on trees or like dead composting wood and shit like that. Yeah.
and even those aren't as good as the ones that you can grow in your home.
Yeah. The ones Well, it's a controlled environment. It's like weed, man. I mean, like the reason that the weed we were talking about earlier that was dog shit you and your friends had, it was seeds and stems and shit.
Yeah.
That just grew in a ditch and somebody
Right.
like cuts it down with a bush hog and fucking bales it up.
And
it's like when you
yeah.
you isolate the plant and like
You give it
maximize
the
the nutrients, the
Yeah.
light, the pH balance of the soil. I mean, you're gonna get, weed was never close to 20% THC until
And
like
now it's-
15 years ago.
And now
dude.
it's fucking 40% in some cases.
It's like
Yeah.
30. It
insane,
gets
yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I went to California and asked them for. I went into a dispensary and asked for some mild weed because I hadn't smoked weed in like a year because I've been
Yeah.
working on boats and shit. And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, try this one's mild." And like, dude, I smoked
like
that shit. Oh, dude, I was
25%.
insane.
It's
Like, I
strongest
lost
weed
my
you ever hit.
dude. I was so scared. I was walking around San Francisco all scared. I walked into a fucking Madame Tussauds wax museum.
Yeah.
Alone.
Oh, no,
terrible
dude.
place to go alone when you're high as fuck for the first time in like a year.
Because you think that's your buddy, but it's just a wax figure of their buddy.
I walked into one room.
You think it's you, but it's just Keanu Reeves.
Steve Jobs was in there. I was like,
The
oh my
funniest
God, it's
detail is melting.
Yeah.
At one point,
That'd be funny.
at one point,
AC goes out.
at one point, I did get comfortable in there, and I could hear people because I was alone. I could just hear people coming along, so I just like stood really still,
Yeah.
like next to the other ones, and people came in.
Oh.
And I was like, ah! They're like, oh my God, dude! I fucking scared the shit out of some kids, dude. It was fun.
That is a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this has
But,
been going on for over an hour, and I think that we, I think that we adequately described everything that you need to know before you start tripping. So
Yeah, there it is.
for any of our listeners out there, go take your car out, and start driving, and start tripping. You know,
Yeah.
Smoke DMT while you're driving.
it definitely
There you go.
it definitely goes together. It's like drinking and driving. It feels fun.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to check out Good Morning Jonestown, Patreon will be listed in the description. Check that out.
Hell yeah.
And,
We also have 51
Yep. They're
free
also on
episodes,
YouTube, yeah.
too, if you've never heard of us.
yeah, find them on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Before you pay,
Yeah, before you pay, check out the free shit.
Yeah, see if you like it, you know?
and if you hate it, subscribe.
And
Yeah.
tell us you hate our guts.
Yeah.
That's the
We
best
would-
way
we
to
would
let them
love
know.
it.
Yeah.
There it is.
We'll create an episode about you.
Russell Douglas has been a pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's
Oh,
been
You're
fun.
welcome.
been
This has
fun.
been Wise Man Time.
Bye, y'all.